In the early 1920s, the Commonwealth Line, a business owned by the Australian government, was in the market for some new ships. Having started in the 1910s as a way for Australia to export goods, with shipping prices essentially being at cost, they were now aiming to also make immigration to the country easier. To do this, the Commonwealth Line needed ocean liners, and so 5 were ordered: Esperance Bay, Hobson's Bay, Moreton Bay, Largs Bay, and the ship we're looking at today, Jervis Bay. Each ship was named after a bay in one of the states that the line operated to and from. Launched in January 1922 at the Barrow shipyards in northern England, she would operate in her intended role for about 5 years, carrying just over 700 passengers per trip if fully loaded, mostly in the relatively Spartan third-class accommodations, since immigrants to Australia usually didn't have all that much in the way of resources. Capable of around 15 knots, Jervis Bay was then sold to the White Star Line in 1928 as a change in government in Australia saw the Commonwealth Line disbanded. After a few years, White Star merged 2 of their subsidiaries, the Commonwealth and Aberdeen Lines, to form the Aberdeen and Commonwealth Line. Yes, very original, I know. And halfway between the changes of ownership, the ship was also converted to a mixed-use vessel with 270 tourist-class cabins, which is approximately the same as second-class accommodation, and large cargo holds for commercial produce taking up the rest of the space, although, if necessary, some of the cargo holds could be converted back to passenger space, which would almost double total accommodation. Come 1939, the outbreak of war saw many larger liners taken in for conversion into armoured merchant cruisers for convoy escort work. Thanks to the naval treaties and various budget shortages, the Royal Navy simply did not have enough cruisers to provide all of the convoys with a full escort to guard against armed merchant raiders like the Hilfskreuzer or more normal regular raiding warships. Jervis Bay was amongst those brought into the Royal Albert Docks for a refit. Nearby was another liner that would go down in history, P&O's Rawalpindi. Since the ship had no armour and precious little compartmentalisation, cork and empty barrels were brought aboard to improve buoyancy in case the ship suffered combat damage. Moved to Scapa Flow, the ship was armed with 7 single 6-inch guns taken from decommissioned pre-dreadnoughts, 2 on the forecastle adjacent to each other, another pair in the step down just forward of the bridge, another pair aft, and a single gun right aft on a higher level. This gave a broadside of 4 guns, with 3 able to fire aft and 2 forward. Amidships were a pair of 3-inch anti-aircraft guns with 1 mounted on either side. Whilst at anchor, the ship fouled a cable, and the resulting damage saw her pulled off the Northern Patrol and sent back for repairs. Taking her place was her erstwhile refit mate Rawalpindi, which was shortly thereafter sunk in action with both Scharnhorsts in a battle that almost certainly would have been Jervis Bay's final action had it not been for that fouled cable and rescheduling. Thus reprieved and repaired, Jervis Bay got back to escorting escorts, starting off with runs to and from Africa, in the process towing the freighter Hartismere for over a week when she was sent out to rescue the broken-down ship. In April 1940, the ship was reassigned to the Bermuda to Halifax run, and then in September she was moved again from Bermuda to Halifax for the transatlantic run. On this run, she escorted convoy HX-72, amongst others, without any major incident, and then in November she was assigned as the sole escort for convoy HX-84, consisting of 37 ships including a number of valuable tankers that were all heading for the UK. But this would not be as quiet a crossing, for in the afternoon of the 5th of November 1940, the heavy cruiser Admiral Scheer appeared on the horizon. Although it attempted deceptive signalling, Captain Fegan of the Jervis Bay was not fooled, and he didn't hesitate. He ordered the convoy to scatter, and sent his last signal. To any British man of war, 1 battleship bearing 328, distance 12 miles, course 208 from position indicated. This was supplied along with an estimated location of where they were at the time, and would be the last time the radio would broadcast anything. To give the other ships time, Jervis Bay now charged the German ship headlong, dropping smoke floats as she went to create a further screen for the ships behind her. If anyone wondered why the liner went straight at the Panzer Schiff, Fagan's reasoning was clear. The 11-inch guns could hit him at long range, but the short-barrel 6-inch on his own ship couldn't range out quite as far. So, to start beating up Admiral Scheer, he had to get closer. However, the German vessel wasn't giving out free chances, and over the course of about half an hour from the first German salvo, Jervis Bay was systematically demolished by incoming fire. But not only had the longest range and largest German guns been distracted, Scheer had also been forced to turn broadside to keep the range open and bring its full firepower to bear on the converted ocean liner. It even took 2 separate 11-inch shells to finish off Captain Fegan, the first merely managing to take off one of his arms and completely failing to dissuade him from commanding his ship. But when it was clear that the ship could do nothing further as it was ablaze and listing, the abandoned ship order was given. Out of 254 men aboard, only 68 survived to make it to the lifeboats. In total, Jervis Bay had occupied Admiral Scheer for about an hour, giving the other ships in the convoy time to run and darkness time to fall. Although some of the other vessels would be overhauled and sunk, the majority of the convoy escaped. For this action, Captain Fegan was posthumously awarded the Victoria Cross.
That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you have a comment or suggestion for a ship to review, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to comment on the pinned post for dry dock questions.